Why does Chris Nolan constantly
Golly,
reuse?
why you pick this photo?
Why does Christopher Nolan always be reusing the same characters?
Make that
Right?
face.
Do you just not like how people look?
No, Josh was the
Josh
most
hates
judgmental.
other human beings.
If you're not careful, I'm gonna start judging you for how you look today.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, better be
Kind
careful.
of shaggy.
Shag,
Haven't shaved.
kind of spotted.
That mole.
Yeah, just find any mole.
He's like,
Find
he's
any
like,
mole.
oh my gosh,
Where?
the Christian Bale mole.
He's like, I've been dogging on Christian too much.
Speaking of Christian Bale, he's in
Right.
these movies.
So in general, there's the concept of why do directors always recast and reuse for so many different movies the same actors, and it's not just, and he's notorious because he uses so many stars in his movies. Like Christopher Nolan puts so many big names in a movie, at least 5 in every single movie. At least
But
5
he-
solid names in every movie.
He likes working with professionals.
He does. And the thing is, we see in his movies, he uses somebody, and then we see them in the next movie or the next couple. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they'll often play a smaller role and then get a bigger role
Right.
in the next
right.
movie.
And with Oppenheimer coming up, we got Cillian Murphy slated to be the star. And I've heard from rumors and videos and interviews and written, article interviews that Christopher Nolan believes Cillian Murphy to be the greatest actor of all time. And so he's been really, really saving him for a lead role. Because I've got a list of kind of the main big actors that's been in multiple Christopher Nolan movies. But what I want to do is discuss real quick, why do directors do this, as well, especially him, and then let's take a look at the repeating actors for his movies and kind of give our thoughts, maybe see like who does the best, who do you think was good choices, who's like maybe why he stopped using them, that kind of stuff.
We know
what I mean?
Tarantino.
Tarantino does it a lot.
yeah,
Mike
he does
I think
it.
Sam Jackson
Sam
is
Jackson.
every single one of his movies.
He's been in quite a few Tarantino films.
He's like not in like one.
Who's the guy who he plays the Jew hunter guy in Inglourious Bastards?
I don't know his name, but
But he's in several of
Yeah.
Tarantino's movies.
Leonardo DiCaprio's in a couple.
DiCaprio's in a couple. His brother, what am I thinking? The guy who plays Bill's brother.
yeah.
Whatever his name is.
Joe, I
He's in a
think,
couple
something.
of
Right.
Tarantino films. So Tarantino has actors that he likes to cast in his movies.
He absolutely does.
We see that Wes Anderson is
Wes Anderson.
notorious.
Yeah, and he's like
Right.
Chris. He puts in a lot of big names.
Yeah, Ed Norton.
Tons of big names.
Uh,
Bill
Wilson.
Murray,
Bill Murray.
Timothy Chalamet.
Not
Wilson.
Timothy Chalamet.
Yes.
The Wilson brothers.
Oh yeah.
What's his name?
Has Scarlett Johansson been in more than one? The one that's coming out.
No. Lots of them. Lots of people.
I don't get his films.
You don't get them?
No.
I don't think a lot of people
It's
do.
all right. I do.
Tim Burton and Johnny Depp is a famous combo.
Yeah.
You know,
Tim Burton, Johnny Depp. What's the other lady's name?
the female Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
She plays what's her face in Harry Potter. She's an incredible actor, but I can't ever remember her name. Vanessa?
Helena Bonham Carter.
You pulled it out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a lot of directors do this. I think it stems mostly just from you get to know somebody, you like what they do, and you want to keep doing that. I think that's part of human nature.
They fit with your style.
It's also human nature. It's like, do we work well together as well? Do you perform well based on my directing? And when you're making a movie, you're investing so much time, effort, and money and trust from other people's money that it's going to do well. And once you learn to trust an actor, even if they have a good reputation, you just are comforted by using them continuously.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to that with Chris Nolan, especially since he started like not too long ago. Like he's been doing this for 20 years, right? His first movie came out, I think, not his first like kind of breakout movie, Memento, was really back in I think 2002, 2003, right? Then he came out with Batman Begins in 2005. And then Prestige in 2006. And that's when things started, the ball started
Really
rolling,
rolling.
all right? And then The Dark Knight shot him into the stratosphere as far as popularity, out of the stratosphere, I guess. And then, so he's become such an iconic filmmaker, but he's still, comparing to someone like Steven Spielberg.
Mm-hmm.
He's much older than Nolan, but Steven Spielberg's done so many movies.
Mm-hmm.
Nolan's done like what? In total, maybe like 11?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's got Quentin numbers. Like, Quentin's stopping at 10. Nolan and Nolan's done it in a lot faster than Quentin Tarantino has.
Right.
But I'm just saying, he's working with a lot of money. A lot of people are investing in him. And so I think for him specifically, and then also becoming such a popular director over the past 15 years and being such high demand for his quality content, that he needs the comfort of working with people he can trust. I think that's the main reason.
Yeah.
We also get into this. I know we were talking about 2 hours and 15 minutes for The Little Mermaid. Movies are getting longer and longer.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying they need to go back to being short. I think a lot of that comes from Hollywood is trying to emulate these guys.
Right.
These guys like Christopher Nolan who are making long movies.
They're
like,
and
they're like people
4-hour movie that Hateful Eight was.
Jim Cameron.
They're like
Jim Cameron.
James Cameron is like, clearly these directors
wasn't
are
James Cameron.
successful.
Sure, he makes long movies.
Oh,
They're successful with making these 3-hour movies. We need to make everything 3 hours. Guardians needs to be 3 hours.
Right.
Avengers needs to be 3 hours.
Yes.
I don't think that works as well for those movies. It works for his movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Oppenheimer, I think, is going to be his longest movie.
sheesh.
Yeah. And boy, oh boy, is he holding out. So as I said, he's been holding on to Cillian
Can we
Murphy.
get an intermission?
I don't
Yeah,
think we're gonna get
Dude,
an intermission.
The Sound
with this
of
bad boy.
Music had an intermission.
Yeah,
But
we
hold
can
on,
go
hold
back
on.
to.
I just heard recently that a lot of people didn't watch the Nazi section of Sound of Music because they got an intermission and
They were like, "Oh, the movie's
the
over."
movie's over. The intermission is right when they get married, right? Right when Von Trapp and Maria get married.
Mm-hmm.
And then intermission, everyone feels like that's
What
the
a
end
good
of the
love
movie.
story.
Yeah, and they leave, and then there's the whole section of her becoming mom, and then being oppressed by the Nazis, and the war getting started, and then
crazy.
freaking there's a whole bunch
Nolan
of film
movies, I
left.
think, need an intermission.
Maybe we should go back.
Please
to
give us about
mission.
20 minutes to
Right.
get out, to go pee. But yeah, let's look at the repeat actors.
Right. So first we got Cillian Murphy, and so he's got 5 credits, including Oppenheimer,
Okay.
of being in 5 different movies, whether bigger roles or smaller roles. He shows up 5 times in his movies. And then the one who's at the top, Michael Caine.
Mhm.
Michael Caine has 7 movie credits. With
And
Chris
I wanna
Nolan.
talk about
That's
this
almost
one.
all of them.
I want to talk about this one because I think it's really important.
Go for it.
Michael.
I think Christopher Nolan likes working with Michael Caine because he's a professional
Mhm.
and because he is an incredible actor.
Yes.
And when he's delivering a line and he's getting really, into it, it's always emotional. It's
Yeah.
always intense.
Right.
And he hits the ball out of the park every time. His delivery of the poem in Interstellar
Mm-hmm.
is beautiful.
Yes.
When he tells Murph that he didn't have the answers on his deathbed and that he may have sent her father into space for nothing.
Dang it.
Oh.
It's intense.
Also,
when
you
he's telling Batman, he's like, "I failed you."
I failed you,
Master White.
Master White. And he's sitting
Dude.
in front of the freaking stone.
Beautiful.
Yes. And I think I've recommended it. I'll keep recommending it because we get more viewers on the podcast. And so they're on YouTube. Look up Michael Caine teaches acting on YouTube.
That's a wonderful video.
I think it's about an hour long, little less than an hour. And he's just on stage probably in the early 80s, right? Him on stage teaching a bunch of people how to act. And it is so good. The details that this man holds in his head for acting, the classic style, the best way. You gotta
He's
love
always
it.
wearing a suit.
The man knows how to dress.
Unfortunately, he's 90, and I think
He is 90.
I think he's wheelchair bound at this point.
I don't think he's too much longer for this world.
No. This is him getting a cane.
but
He's looking old.
we really like Secondhand Lions is.
He was old in
he
Secondhand Lions. That was a long time ago.
You pair Robert Duvall and Michael Caine,
Mhm.
you get just excellent performances.
Right. So another credit, we got Christian Bale. He's got four credits, all 3 Batmans and The Prestige.
And I don't think he's done.
You don't think he's done for Chris Nolan?
I think Chris will call Christian Bale back.
I think so too. Okay, so
I
think about
could
this.
see him being in another Chris Nolan movie.
The big breakouts, he had Christian Bale by his side. Chris Nolan did. So he did Batman Begins after he did Memento.
Yeah.
And then he did Prestige, Chris Nolan. Then he did The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Then he took a break, did Inception. Then he did The Dark Knight Rises.
He didn't. I don't think he wanted to do The Dark Knight Rises.
You think it was in just demanded?
Well, they wanted him to do it. He didn't want to do it as much because Heath Ledger's passing
right.
Probably.
was difficult. Was difficult for him, and he didn't want to have to continue telling this story without him.
It was so good.
Because I think in his head, the Joker was a part of that third movie as well.
I'm sure.
Does Christian Bale get paid salary and a half for him and his mole?
Goodness. All right.
People are going to comment on this. He's bullying. Bullying.
Christian.
I get the bullying comments because I made fun of someone's eyes.
Right.
You need to get bullied.
Hold
too.
on. You could say she's got a unique.
I never
weird
said she was
face.
unattractive.
What you did was compare her to a frog.
I like frogs.
Anya Taylor-Joy. Just to recap.
Hey,
everybody.
we're not going.
And
back to that.
I explained. I like frogs. I don't have any issue with this.
Such a weird take. I love frogs.
I like
but
frogs.
Dang it, if Anya don't look like a frog.
Yeah. Who's the next actor?
All right, so Ken Watanabe.
Yeah,
Got it right.
love him. Good actor.
Watabe.
So people don't know who that is.
But they know.
Yeah, it's the guy from
You know him once you see him.
Inception.
He is the fella from Inception.
Or The Last Samurai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Godzilla.
He plays the
You
fake
guys know
Ra's
him.
al Ghul at the
The
beginning
fake
of Batman
Ra's al Ghul.
Begins.
You guys know him.
So he has 2 Chris Nolan credits,
isn't he?
He is
Yeah.
a good actor.
He went from Batman Begins and then took a break and came back in Inception.
Mm-hmm.
So he has 2 Chris Nolan credits. But yeah, this is Ken Watanabe. Really
The man
good.
Looks
Really
so
awesome.
good, bald.
His voice is incredible.
Let them fight.
He needs to do more voiceover work, in my
I'm
opinion.
sure he's done
Yeah,
quite
he
a
probably
bit.
has.
Him playing with the prosthetics of the old man in Inception. He's like, what did he say? He said, "You said we will become old man together."
Old men together.
Yeah, freaking.
Well, it's that gravitas, that the accent of the
you see
old
him
Japanese man.
slowly
right?
picking up the gun.
Yeah.
Freaking, it's stellar performances.
The Japanese have that. They got that voice, man.
All right, guy
Mr.
who's not
Oldman.
appreciated enough.
Mr.
Gary
Oldman.
Oldman.
Gary Oldman. Freaking.
You want to talk about some of
Gary the old
greatest
man.
performances? Gary Oldman.
He's right there. It's right there.
So yeah. So obviously he plays Gordon in all 3 Batmans.
What did we just watch with him in it?
He's plays Severus, Sirius Black in Harry Potter.
No, well, what did we just watch with him in it? Because I was like, he's Gordon in Batman. What did we just watch?
watched
He's
something
coming out with
real
a Apple
recently.
TV Slow Horses. This is his most recent project.
Hold up, can you go to his movies real quick?
He was the bad guy in Air Force One.
Really?
Yeah. It was a very kind of Hans Gruber.
Book of
Book of Eli.
Have
Yeah,
you seen this movie?
he's
The Book of Eli.
He was a villain in this. He always plays a good villain.
It was a kind of meta type storytelling, but you should watch it. The
It
Book
is
of
a good
Eli
movie.
with
All right.
Denzel
Denzel
Washington.
Washington.
So Morgan Freeman, legend, but he's only has
Yeah.
the 3 credits from the Batman movies. He hasn't shown up anywhere else.
Aw.
So you got now I struggle with her name, Marion
Cotillard.
So she plays. Let me pull up her. Well, let me copy and paste. So she plays on Inception, Leonardo DiCaprio's wife. She also plays on The Dark Knight Rises.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
She hasn't been in anything in a while. At least I haven't seen her in anything.
She was hot for a minute.
Yeah, she was in
She's
demand.
probably still hot, but
She's
been in a lot of stuff.
Hot as in acting.
As
hot.
in acting, like
Not
what
your-
stuff that she was in. She was in a bunch of
I
stuff.
was
How
gonna say,
dare
wait.
you not call her just a hot in general
Oh
woman?
no, I said hot in general as well.
Yes, she's very pretty. I think she's
And
probably the
she's a
most
good actress.
iconic.
Oh, well, what was the last thing she
She's
was
the
in?
most iconic Chris Nolan female actor.
Mhm.
So
She was really good in Midnight in Paris.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's your brother.
Owen
My
Wilson.
favorite.
If she's part of the reason. He likes her as an actress.
So I do not consider Chris Nolan sexist in any way, but a lot of his films do tend to lean into male characters. So there are fewer female actors, especially ones that repeat.
Well,
Alright?
I mean,
Don't say it. Just
what?
breeze past that comment.
I'm just
Don't say
saying.
it.
I'm just
What,
saying.
don't-
Out of all the women and not just because she repeats, because I think the only other repeat is Anne Hathaway.
Mhm.
Not just because she repeats. I think she is the most iconic Chris Nolan female character, female actor as a character in Chris
I
Nolan
mean, it's
movies.
not, it shouldn't be surprising for a lot of people that maybe male directors are really good at telling male stories.
Oh.
I mean, there's
That's
this
true.
discussion in Hollywood. It's like we need, female directors to tell female stories. We need, different ethnicities to tell these different stories. If that logic tracks, then yeah, it makes sense that Christopher Nolan is really good at telling stories with, primarily male actors.
Right.
But I don't think that's the case. I think he can tell stories with good female actors. as
And
well.
I forgot to mention Gary Oldman's credits is 4 because he has all 3 Batman movies, but he's slated to be in Oppenheimer. Gary Oldman is.
Oh, okay.
So and it's actually the exact same here with Kenneth. What's his last name? Kenneth
Branagh.
He was in Tenet. No, he's first in Dunkirk. Then he's in
I
Tenet.
haven't seen Dunkirk.
Now I did.
You haven't?
No.
Out of
Yeah.
all Chris Nolan movies, not the best.
It's just
No,
slower.
it's a well done movie.
It's just a slower movie.
I think
Okay.
we just get less. We're not as emotionally invested in the characters with Dunkirk. We're
Okay.
more. It's more about the events, and we're following a couple characters. But I never feel really connected on an emotional level with the characters in Dunkirk.
I'll need to watch it.
It's
Isn't
a
it
really
'cause all you're thinking is Harry Styles.
probably.
'Cause
I think that was
I've
a wrong
seen
move.
all
I
the-
think that was a wrong move.
I've seen all the other
You're
Chris
just
Nolan movies.
Thinking about watermelon sugar.
So Kenneth Boyog.
famous for his portrayal of Poirot in the Agatha Christie's
yes.
Murder on the Orient Express.
Mhm.
Oriental.
No, it's not the Oriental Express.
There's Poirot.
Oh, I can't wait for the next one to come out.
Yeah, it's got like a theater skull or dark vibe to it.
That's gonna be so sick.
So yeah, and also he was on Death on the Nile. Is that it? Yeah, Death on the Nile.
Death on the Nile, not as good. I think the third installment has potential if they're taking the kind of more horror
Yeah,
route, with
definitely.
the detective horror route.
But he was in Dunkirk, and then he was in Tenet as the main villain, and he did awesome in that role. Such a convincing character, and he's slated to be in Oppenheimer as well. I don't know how big of a role. I think it's actually a smaller one because his credit's not very high.
Why does he
But
go
we'll
from
see.
this character to this character in Harry Potter?
Yeah,
That's insane.
he's a good actor. He's very dynamic. His role.
This Harry Potter is so different.
I've
yeah.
seen him play a villain in, I want to say, a couple different things.
Mhm.
He's really good at the villain role. His villain role in Tenet is excellent.
Really good.
He's really good at it.
So another we got Joseph Gordon-Levitt with 2 credits.
Mm-hmm.
First in
Inception.
first in Inception, then The Dark Knight Rises, back to back. So he liked Joseph Gordon, and I wonder what Joseph Gordon was doing because I know for a fact he probably would have kept putting Joseph in more films, but he probably got busy and just didn't. He did
Looper?
that. He did that. It might have been Looper, or it might have been that one movie where he was playing Edward Snowden. Did you guys ever see that one?
No.
Did you ever
No, I
see
haven't.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt's Edward Snowden, the guy who exposed?
I know who Snowden is.
Whew,
Wait,
really good
Seen,
take.
I haven't seen
He
Joseph
exposed
Gordon.
who? What?
The government.
Exposed the government for spying on
Government secrets.
the American people. he's been on Joe Rogan's podcast, The Real Edward Snowden, a couple times over video call because he's in Russia.
He's in hiding.
He's in hiding because during Obama's presidency, he leaked confidential information that he learned about when he was working for the CIA. And
he's that guy.
And he
okay.
broke
Have
protocol.
you guys, what's Joseph Gordon been in recently? I haven't seen him.
Probably smaller stuff. He's a real indie creator. Yeah. I need to look that up. Let me see. Let's see what he's been in. What he's got slated.
What's Joseph doing? Because he was hot for a minute.
Right.
He was in everything for a while.
I mean, but he's been around.
He's been in quite a lot of movies. Yeah.
Angels in the Outfield.
I'm gonna get rid
what's
of
he got
producer and writer. I'm just gonna get an actor.
Yeah, what's he got upcoming?
So 6 upcoming.
He was in Poker.
Oh, he was in
on some
Poker Face. Really good in
TV
Poker
series.
Face. Really good in the last episode of Poker
Yeah.
Face. It was really cool. So pre-production for a handful of stuff. We
White
got
Knight,
K-Troop,
Providence, Killer Heat,
Wingman.
Beverly Hills
Wait,
Cop.
Glass Onion. What? He was in Glass Onion?
I think he was just voice
Her
Hourly
Dong.
Dong.
Hourly Dong.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He
Remember
said,
on the island?
he said the hourly announcement is like Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
I think he said it.
Yeah. You remember that?
Mm.
So
He was in Pinocchio.
The Disney one.
Jiminy Cricket. He Jiminy Cricket. The voice.
Yeah.
the one that nobody
He did
watched.
it. He
Nobody
did in
watched this
fact.
one.
What?
Nobody watched.
I don't
that
see him
one.
as a Jiminy Cricket character, but sure.
He did the voice of Detective
Hard Rock.
Hard Rock in Knives Out. Why's he doing? Why's he
He
doing
also
voice?
played a
over
voice
work
in Star Wars Visions.
Well, that's more.
Jay.
That's more relatable. I don't see why he's doing voiceover.
Yeah, he's been in
work.
a lot of smaller stuff, I guess, recently.
He's always.
No,
on
I wouldn't
video.
say any of this stuff is
No,
smaller, just
been
not
doing
main actor
been
stuff.
doing some less prominent character stuff.
But some of his what IMDb considers his most notable films, Inception is one of them. So he did Inception.
And Looper.
I think
Looper.
Well,
Yeah,
but
so
I'm talking about Chris
2012.
Nolan's.
That
Chris
is
Nolan.
right
yeah,
after 2012. That's right after. Like I said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. So he was probably busy with Looper when he was possibly getting casted for something past The Dark Knight Rises. So we got 2 more. We got Anne Hathaway. She got 2 credits. First, The Dark Knight Rises, and then right after, Interstellar.
Yeah.
So, per the usual, Chris Nolan works with somebody, and then they're in the next one after. You know what I mean? And it's all like that with almost all of these, with the exception of Cillian Murphy. And then you got Tom Hardy, right? So
3
Tom Hardy
credits.
has 3 credits.
What's he?
He plays Bane.
Yep.
He's in Dunkirk,
And in
and he's
Interstellar.
in
Inception. Yeah.
Inception. Right.
Yeah.
So
Good
Tom,
repeats. My
Absolutely.
question,
Mhm.
and I don't know if you were leading to this or not.
right?
From Oppenheimer, do you think any of the first-time actors are going to show up in his next film?
From Oppenheimer.
So we.
I was looking at the
people
cast
knew-
list actually
people
this
knew.
morning.
to Chris Nolan movies. It's
Mhm.
like Robert Downey Jr.,
Emily Blunt,
Emily Blunt,
Matt Damon,
Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh.
Oh no, not
Lots
that wasn't
of
Christopher Nolan.
people that are coming in.
New.
Do you think
Chris Nolan.
maybe Matt Damon is going to
Matt Damon.
star?
So
in the
you're
next
trying
movie?
to
I'm
predict.
trying to predict who's going to be in the next.
I know
Chris
who
Matt
it is,
Damon's
bro.
kind of doing his
I
own
know who it
thing.
is, and I'm almost 100% positive.
Who?
Emily
Blunt.
I think I'm almost 100% positive the next Chris Nolan's going to have Emily Blunt in there. Because
Maybe.
she's the wife of Oppenheimer. She's an important but sideline role. You get characters like Robert Downey Jr., Matt Damon as like front leads next to Cillian Murphy, and you put the leads that Chris Nolan's like considering as with the pattern. If you follow the pattern, Emily Blunt, she's more in the background
Right.
than Matt Damon, Robert Downey Jr. and Cillian Murphy. And those are the people you see rising
What's
up into
going
the
on
front.
in the background?
Yeah,
Why is there so much motion?
Yeah,
don't know.
this is distracting.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's
think
a good
Emily
prediction.
Blunt.
Of
I think it's
Emily
going to be
Blunt.
Emily Blunt. I don't think it's going to be Florence Pugh.
Okay.
Honestly,
I don't think
Better
it's
not
going to
be.
be Florence Pugh either.
Better not be.
Because I think part of his thing is, he really, he has to like you to work with you the next time.
it helps that she's British.
Yeah.
Emily Blunt's British.
Emily Blunt is British.
It helps because he's British and he's got that. He likes that vibe.
I want to see Austin
I-
Butler in one of his films.
He might show up. At some point.
I want because Florence Pugh's one of those actresses that Hollywood's really pushing right now.
Mhm.
So it makes sense that she would get into one of these movies because he casts people who are big in Hollywood.
Because he's trying to sell that movie.
Right. And so,
It's also why he stacks it with so many stars. All of his movies have so many stars.
yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
did I cut you off or something?
No, I was basically done. I
Yeah.
don't know.
All right,
Just saying.
that's basically it. To reach around our butts.
Okay.
It's a long way for you.
You gotta stop. You can't stop with the reach around. To reach around our butts to hit our elbow. There's a good reason why he recasts and reuses actors, and there's not one specific answer. It's common for him. He probably likes to feel everybody out.